Lebetkin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And we're up to day 17 of our 50-day program to supercharge one's connection to God. I hope it's going well for you. Is it going well? It's very hard to tell, when you're in the middle of it. I think it's going okay for me. How's it going for you? So we're going over a thing called the 6 constant mitzvahs. We're doing it from this book over here, Chase Mitchell's Medius. It's the 6. A mitzvah is a commandment. The 6 constant commandments from the Old Testament, and they're all about one's relationship with God. First one, we analyze the role of faith. What is faith? We try to understand faith. We went to try to get inside it. And the more we talked about it, I think the deeper level of understanding and faith that we brought up. At least, again, that's what it did for me. So now we're on to the second of these commandments, which is don't have any other God before God. It shows how much the world has changed since the Bible was written, that that we're just saying it sounds stupid. Don't have any God before God. Well, of course not. He's God. I can have a God before God. That's God. Yeah, it does make sense. But I think when it was written, we lived in a much more idolatrous world, which I think, generally speaking, has been the mission. Again, from a Jewish perspective, it has been the mission of God all the way through to bring biblical values to the world, which I think, the revelation of Sinai seems to be quite a significant event, right? And the ideas of that have echoed through all the major religions throughout time. I think instilling that morality into the world. So today we have things where we're saying, don't have any God before God, and you're like, what? That sounds stupid. That's why we're speaking it out. So we spent a couple of days, I think, in a bit of a cul-de-sac. I think going off on a bit of a tangent, so the author could very, very gently tell the Jewish audience that they shouldn't rely on lucky charms or segulas, no matter how holy the man that you get them. They're not bad, they're not a terrible thing, but you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket. So he spent a long time on that. Okay, fine. That's okay. But now I think we're getting onto something which is much more the heart of this commandment, which is the idols within, which I think is the vast majority of them, like the way vast majority. I can't remember if I said this before. Who was it? Who told me this idea? A fellow student of mine, when I was in rabbinical ceremony, told me this thing over, that we used to have idolatry in the world as a powerful force. Idolatry could give you the stuff that you wanted, which is why it was so incredibly powerful. But that was all taken out of the world about 2,700 years ago, I think, around there. That was all taken out of the world, and at the same time, magic went out of the world. The real genuine magic, the ability to do stuff and control reality went out the world as well. So this guy, God, I wish I could remember who told me, because it's really clever. So he said the desire, the urge. We have like these negative urges. Urge for sex, right? I think that's the one most of us can relate to. We call it that drive, that negative drive for idolatry was replaced with what we replaced it with: nothing. Absolutely nothing. So now we spend our days staring into TV screens, looking at nothing, and we got doing nothing, raised up as the the thing to do. I don't know when the last time you went out for dinner, but most people, when they go out for dinner, after they order, in between courses, everybody pulls out their phone, right? We are obsessed with doing something that is completely intangible. So I think that was an interesting idea. Not my idea, but I do like that idea. I think it is clever. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up to my Substack, sign up to my paid Substack. Even I'm not doing anything to warrant that whatsoever. But thank you to everybody who did, right? Thank you to everybody who did. I feel really bad I haven't put stuff out on it. But maybe today, okay, here's what's going on with me, right? I had a rough couple of weeks, right? And normally I am My default position is I got a very strong work ethic. I like working. I like doing things. I like producing content. I like I like life, right? I like living life and the abilities that gives me. I enjoy that, and I'm very driven to do that. But man, I've been trying to take some time off because I just need to to have a bit of a reset. That as yet, hasn't materialized because I keep having good ideas. My backup channel I was using, I think, oh, maybe I should just do comic stuff on that channel, right? And make that my comics channel and try and build that up as well. Wouldn't that be nice? And I'm like, well, that's going to be a bunch of work to do this. Do you really want to do that? Oh, I don't really know. I don't know. The thing is, I can't conceive of not doing everything every day. I've got to do 2 or 3 videos. No, I'll put out a few videos a week, if that. But right now, after I finish filming this, I got these 2 comic books lined up that I'm going to be reviewing. Why? Because I'm a schmuck. I am a schmuck, right? That's the. Okay, I walk the dog at 12:30. I should take the rest of the day off until my live stream, which is at 7 o'clock tonight, right? I really should do that. Finish watching the Batman catch up on Superman and Lois catch up. Watch the latest Better Call Saul. That's what I should be doing. I should have a relaxing day. Am I going to do that? I wouldn't hold your breath. Although I have got a great idea for my thumbnail for the my live stream tonight. Join me tonight at 5 p.m. UK time. Fine. Idols Within. The daily song for Thursday. Oh, okay. Fine. Let me just back that up for a second. At the end of morning services, we do this thing called the Song of the Day, right? Song of the Day, which is what the Levitical people or the Levitical tribe would sing in the temple when the temple stood. He goes, there shall be no strange god within you. That's from Psalms. Save for a surgical implant of an idol, it is hard to understand how a strange god could be within a person. The Talmud explains that the strange god in this is this all from the Song of the Day? Really? Strange. I say it every day. I very rarely pay attention. It's terrible, but it's so true. Even the most devout religious person has a drive for evil. Yes, I can attest to that. I'm quite a strong one. Is the Talmud suggesting we are all idol worshippers? He's basically saying the idol within you is a drive. I don't think it can be. Let's see what they're talking about. By examining the tactics employed by your evil inclination, you can call it your id. We call it the Yetzer Hara, the drive for evil. The hara is evil, ra is evil, right? The drive for evil, which is basically everything. Every decision in life it can boil down to: am I going to move closer to God, or am I going to move further away? Any decision that doesn't involve that, and every decision that does involve that, isn't really a decision, doesn't really matter. By examining the tactics involved by the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, that's that voice in your head that says, oh, come on, it doesn't really matter, have another brownie, go have a drink, you'll feel good with it, it's that voice in the head that gives you advice that you would never in a million years give anybody else, especially somebody you loved. All right. So we got to look at what that thing in you utilizes, and we can appreciate the Talmud's comparison between the evil inclination and false gods on 2 levels. Okay, we want to be successful and happy. The evil inclination whispers us constantly, I'll show you how. He devises plans for us. First, he teaches us how to be competitive and use occasional white lies to get us ahead, to shoulder aside those who challenge us. An example offered by Rabbi Yisrael Salanter: when 2 people want to see who is taller, they will stand as straight as they can. If one wants to cheat a bit, he stands on his tiptoes. An unscrupulous person may kick the counterpart in the shin to make him bend over. Well, honestly, wouldn't just a tape measure do the trick in that case? I don't know. It would be bad enough to see people trying to get ahead in devious ways in your arena every day. But we also see this behavior exhibited in the strangest of places. There are people who will lie and cast others aside in an effort to get ahead in rabbinical ceremony. Yeah, or even more oddly, to be the ones who head chesed. What's the word I'm looking for? Chesed is a committee doing good deeds, right? So you have people like cheat and lie to be the head of an organization that gives food to the poor, right? And you will. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it. Okay, I am sure you've seen it. It's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy world. Instead of spending time searching for ways to help others, some people prefer to engage in power struggles to ensure that they are the ones helping. It is strange. How strange is the next line? How strange. What is the source of this such behavior? A little voice inside us always says, true, your goal is to get close to God and fulfill the purpose of creation, but there are other obstacles you can't deal with by following biblical law, right? Really? Follow the crowd. They will teach you how to be popular, how to get ahead, and how to attain success. We have an expression in Israel, in Judaism, and more in Israel, called Yesh Gavul. There's a boundary. Like, I'm religious, but I'm not gonna let myself be disadvantaged by that. Sometimes that's what God wants, right? Sometimes turning the other cheek is often what God wants, and it really is. I think it's often what God wants. It's very rarely fun, right? It's very rarely something you want to do. Many of us follow that little voice, that force called the evil inclination, like faithful soldiers doing battle. We are worshippers of a force within us that declares some areas of life are not covered by God and Torah. I don't think they say that, right? I think it just says it tries not to think about it. Someone else delivers in those areas. Again, it's like it's like the person in charge of a religious outreach organization fiddling the taxes, right? God says don't do that, right? Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do the stealing. The first thing we have to realize is that evil inclination cannot deliver. That sounds simplistic, but how many of us believe it? How many people employ methods that could only come from the evil inclination to try and attain success, financial security, and popularity? We have to convince ourselves that those glittering images that the evil inclination provide us is a mirage. That's really all. I mean, the Satan, I think, is a good definition of it. That's all it really has, a mirage. It just has this this fakeness, right? This complete fakeness that gets us to believe it, right? If we don't do this, we're gonna die. And we can't. The Satan, the evil inclination, loves to make you scared and makes you scared about shadows and nothing that's there. That's why I love. Who was it? Harry Potter. Who they had this demon called a boggart. And a boggart is your biggest fears. And the way you dispel this thing called the boggart is you point your wand at it and you say the spell ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Most things that we are scared of is just ridiculous, right? Apart from miracles. Things I'm scared of are real. When we're first dealing with the evil kind can't deliver, no matter how no matter how rich such tactics may help you become, there's no guarantee that all your wealth won't disappear. All your wealth won't disappear. All your popularity gained by following the evil inclination won't evaporate without warning. Well, there's a pretty good guarantee it will evaporate without warning. The financial meltdown of 2008 left people who enjoyed astronomical annual incomes and huge investment portfolios with almost nothing. People who were feted by rich and famous and popular turned into being pariahs overnight. Yeah, that was the whole Bernie. Oh God, another Jew. How embarrassing. Bernie Sanders, was it Bernie Sanders thing, right? The evil inclination cannot guarantee your success, whether financial or social. Don't fall into its trap and let them lead you to oblivion. Saying, I have to! I don't have a choice, otherwise we won't have money and we'll die! It will tell you things you don't believe, right? Being armed with future battles, being armed for future battles with the evil inclination is not enough. He has been with you since you were born, and by now has you have surely fallen into his clutches more than once. Well, I don't really resist a lot. No, please don't make me fall in clutch. Oh, that feels good. It's possible to examine every aspect of your life and eradicate all the influences all at once. Or ever. Otherwise, if you do it, you won't have a point of living. That struggle is the point of life. Those who have tried to turn into saints overnight have always failed. That is true. You've got to be authentic to who you are, right? That's a constant. Some have even suffered from a backlash. Start by examining the amount of time, effort, and energy that you invest in different aspects of your life. This might be true in your world, right? I wasn't raised religious. I became religious when I was 19. I was on holiday in Israel and unexpectedly stayed the rest of my life. But the period when people, and it was the rabbinical ceremony was designed to give Jewish history and Jewish education to people who weren't religious, who didn't have it, right? And some of them, like me, end up becoming crazy religious, right? But there's a point when you're like your first year or two where we call it flaming, where you're like, everything's black and white and everybody's a sinner and you got to fight me. And it's those people are kind of annoying and obnoxious. They're people who just quit smoking and are very evangelical about it. Right? Evangelical, right? That's the exact word. So I'm sure you get that with like the born again people as well, right? They get very, very loud and stark for religion. Then begin examining the areas into which you invest the most significant the areas in your life you invest in most significantly, and see how they fit into the goal of a training purpose and meaning. If they don't, you must work on removing them from your repertoire. Yeah, this is interesting because I'm on the other end of this. Like, I first learned this about 10, 15 years ago, and this is so distant to me now, right? Because I really every year I try and do a bit of a personal purge. With your time, you should reach with time you should reach a level at which all or at least most of your time and efforts are spent serving God, not the foreign God within you. Yeah, and that's true. Listen, you can do pretty much anything. You just got to focus it. You're doing it for God, right? Why do I want to take half the day off today? So I can revitalize. Why I can revitalize so I have energy that I can serve God. Like, everything I do is really to serve God. Like my reviews, my video, my channel, everything I do is at the back of my mind. My basic default question is this beautiful in God's eyes, right? Does God find this beautiful? And I do a lot of weird stuff in that way, but I think making fun of the insanity of the world, which is so anti-God, I think that is beautiful in God's eyes. That's why I spend so much time doing it. Why do I have like a lot of salacious nude? I wouldn't say nude, but salacious, titillating images on my thumbnails in general? Well, I mean, other than I like them a lot. I like them a lot. Oh, it's and then this is maybe just a rationale, right? But again, it's a way of rebelling and lambasting the current culture that says that there isn't men, women, and sexuality, right? But I think there are, right? I think there are, and I think all these things were invented by God for that very, very reason. Fine. So wait a minute. On that level, the Talmud we were talking about earlier refers to the evil inclination as the foreign god within you that causes us to believe there's another source other than God. Right, if the voice inside your head, you often think it's real. But there is also a much more obvious reason why the inclination is an antagonist. Well, it's a bad guy, right? No, okay. He tries so hard to convince us to chase what success. As we explained earlier, chasing success for its own sake was the error of the original idolaters. And for the underlying principle of idolatry in modern times, even if the evil inclination would not have enticed us to seek other sources to fill our needs, then he would still be an Elzar. I don't know what that means, Elzar, because a foreign god. He'll still be a foreign god because the goal that he presents is akin to idolatry. Yes, serve me, don't serve God. Right? Like, I got to serve that need. Serve your first. What was that? Don't obey your first. I think was the was it 7-Up tagline at one point? Obey your thirst. No, only obey God. If you're thirsty and you want to drink so you can serve God, that's one thing. Obey your thirst. No. An idol called I Can't. We've all got this one. There are more. There is more idol there is one more idol that we must be aware of. One that is so insidious that it is almost imperceptible. As humans, we assume that there are certain tasks we can do and others that we are incapable of doing. We can easily lift 25 pounds, but it wouldn't even attempt to budge a 250-pound weight. We can walk a mile in 20 minutes. I guess so, yeah. But we would laugh at suggesting we could run a mile in 4 minutes. In other words, there are things that are within our personal power and things that are beyond us. If we are told that there are people who routinely lift 250 pounds and run a 4-minute miles, we respond that their capabilities are not like ours. Every person is endowed with their own personal potential and ability. One who masters this commandment of not having any other gods before them and faith realizes that those assumptions are wrong. The essence of the first two constant mitzvahs is that God is the only source of power. So this very much ties into The Matrix, right? I think this is one of the reasons The Matrix was such a beloved movie in rabbinical circles, and it really was, right? There's that bit in the training program where Neo is being trained by, was it Lawrence Fishburne? It's not Trinity. What was his name? Oh man, I can't remember his name. Never mind. But there's a bit in it where he says, "What do you think that why are you breathing heavy? Do you think that's air you're breathing? None of this is real. It's none of it." And I think the same is true, right? That's how miracles happen. But more you realize none of this is real, the more the more you're not bound by these mundane realities. So yeah, we say can't. So what is the essence of is that God is the only power, the only source, means that only He can determine who should perform. Only He can determine when we should perform commandments and when we should earn money, and even whether and to what extent we should have the ability to move our hands and feet. Yeah, the bit that we can do anything whatsoever, right? It's all an expression of the will of God. And why is that the will of God? Because God wants us to actualize ourselves, right? Even though it's impossible. Because God is all. A person does not inquire, a person does not injure his finger on earth unless it was decreed in heaven. And we see from the verse, where was this? Over in Psalms, by God are a man's footsteps established. Okay. If so, how can we move about seemingly of our own accord? Well, okay, well, let's see what I was going to give you the answer, but let's see what he has to say. There is a significant power that God breathes into every human being. It's a small measure of His infinite power. This power is called Bechira, free will. The power to choose between right and wrong, between good and bad. Indeed, the power to make indeed, the power to make every routine or important decision in our lives. God did not transfer the power to execute those choices. Execution remains under his control. Under normal circumstances, however, he enables us to follow through and act on our decisions. But it's clear that should he decide to prevent us from executing those decisions, all attempts to counter his will would be futile. That's exactly why I didn't buy a new computer last week, right? Exactly why. Because I just thought, why am I fighting God, right? All these things are exploding in my life, right? Why am I fighting God, right? Clearly, God's saying, maybe now's not the time to buy you a new computer, right? So that's really why I didn't, right? I could have pushed, I could have forced it, but sometimes you just got to listen to God. Fine. But but interestingly enough, that there's a line in Psalms in Hebrew, God opens up his hands and gives you whatever it is you truly desire. And that's so true. I mean, I know we all think, oh, I desire $1 billion. 10 years ago it was $1 million. Now it's $1 billion. Right? I desire, but you don't. You really don't. You don't desire doing what you have to make that. You don't desire the responsibility that comes with that. You don't desire. No one's having that easier a life. Okay, so most of the time we desire safety, which is why our souls don't want to be rich, because we want safety. When a person says, I can't do such and such, it's too much for me, his intentions can be one of the following. He says, I do not have the power to carry out such tasks. Or B, with regard to the task, my free will is irrelevant. I cannot use my free will to decide to perform a task because it is not doable. If we examine the unarticulated elements contained in each statement, we find that it might be this might border the underlying themes of idolatry. If a person's intention was that he does not doesn't have the physical strength or personal influence to perform the specific task requested of him, he may unwittingly imply that this is his only task and it is beyond him, and that he does have the physical prowess to carry out the task, i.e., totally within his power to decide whether or not to do them. So the commandment of not having other gods requires us to believe that the power is held solely by God. Our physical prowess is no more than God enabling us through on the choices we made with our free will. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. That is an interesting way of looking at it. Right. So essentially, we're saying, again, it's back to that matrix thing. If we believe God wants us to do something, right? There's nothing that can stop it. A great example, Moses, right? Moses, he sees a burning bush, and he tells him, okay, go and let my people go. Remember that? Yeah. And what's Moses' first response? No, you got the wrong man. I don't think so. Like that was a bit weird. And he spent like 3 days trying to convince Moses. If the Spirit of God is within you, there's not much you can't do, right? There's this great bit, Apocrypha, when Abraham's are going to meet go to war against the 4 kings. And they say, are we going to win? His followers say we're going to win. He said, probably not. Probably not. These are 4 kings where there's only like 100 or so. I think there's 400 of us. But I think, this is we're going up against heavily armed military. We don't stand a chance. But if God wills it, then yes, we're going to win. And that's exactly what happened, right? That is exactly what happened. Which you also got to understand that when something happens that we don't like, that's God's will, right? We're coming up to this day called Lag BaOmer, 33rd day of this period called the Omer. So today's day 17. We got 16 days to go. We had a massive tragedy on that last year, a massive tragedy where everybody goes to this place called Meron up north in Israel. This town called Sfat. and you go to the cave of the person whose death we're commemorating. It's like a big deal. So it's very, very solemn and very, very religious, and also a huge party atmosphere at the same time. It was like one of the times where all aspects of Jews got together and partied and were happy and danced together. Very, very, very rare, right? And it was there we had this terrible tragedy where 45 people were killed because they got crushed to death, very much like, was it Millwall? I think or Hillsborough? No, Hillsborough was a fire, wasn't it? there's so many of these tragedies, right? So many of these terrible tragedies. But so we're coming up to the anniversary of that, the first we call it Yortzeit, the first anniversary of that, and it's terrible. It shocked me to my core. It rattled me to my core. It was very, very, very scary, very, 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 very disturbing. But you got to say, this is what God wanted. Why do you think God did that? Right? I've spoken about that before. Why do you think God did that? So yeah, God is the sole power, right? The insinuation that he is capable of performing certain tasks without God is tantamount to deification. I thought it was defecation. Deification. Okay, deification. That's something better than self-defecation. The best way to avoid self-defecation, get to the bathroom quickly. That's what I would suggest. The other implication is that he realizes his power is limited to his free will decisions, and the ability to carry out his choice depends on God enabling to do so. He now feels, however, that this particular request is so outlandish, so difficult, there is no room even for the desire of going to do it. Going back to our early analogy, this may feel that even free will does permit him to think about running a 4-minute mile. Many other tasks are within his ability too. This is not one. This is not one. The implication is the transgression of most profound precept of not having other gods before that. I mean, it's just like it's a basic voice saying, where you say no when your voice says no, you can't say yes, you can. I think a great example of that, of the ability that you have, if you just say, if you don't believe the no, you can't, is Eddie Izzard. Eddie Izzard, like one of the first trans people, before it got, not one first trans, before it became a thing, right? Before it became a thing, seems like a really decent human being, but he did this thing where he did like 40 marathons in 60 days, something ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and just because his strength of will, right, was like he said he could do it. Now imagine saying imagine having that strength of will by connecting yourself to God. If you connect yourself to God, there's nothing you cannot do. The movie I've got to see, by the way, everybody's recommended to me, which basically says this, is Father Stu, right? I really, really want to see that. Rambam, Rabbi Maimonides, right. It is the essence of free will that each person can choose to become as righteous as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Moses. They can all achieve all that they did because they chose correctly. He chose wisely, not because they were naturally destined for to greatness. Each had enormous, unfathomable potential, but what made them so great is that they had the will to rise to the highest possible level. Maimonides is teaching that if we would be strong enough to make the same personal choices, we could attain greatness just as they did. I don't think it happens all in one go, but you got to have a pretty good string of good choices. A person who claims that that he does not have the free will to achieve greatness, even a level of greatness that seems too extraordinary for modern times, denies the essence of free will. Why is that a transgression of not having other gods? In faith, we learn that the world was created for the purpose, and that we must believe that we share in that purpose of fulfilling whatever mission God has sent us to fulfill. Since we cannot carry out a mission in a physical sense without God's assistance, our ability to participate in the purpose of the world is conditioned for our conditioned on our use of our connection to God, how strong it is to choose correctly. If we believe that we are not capable of choosing correctly, we are left with the lives devoid of meaning. Well, I mean, like, okay, lives that can turn into banal pursuit of success, or at best mediocrity. That's not much more normally what it is. That, as we mentioned earlier, is a modern day version of idolatry. Very true, very true, very true. So again, I do hope they're really going to go over modern day idols. Like what is an idol in this world, right? Because there are a lot. I don't think we really talked about it yet. If we don't, I'm gonna put it in there. I'll put it in there for you guys. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the rabbi from another planet. Join me tomorrow as we continue this exploration into absolutely supercharging one's connection with God.